Hey, Hadino, no problem. Just saw your message. No worries. Just sit in. And so the way we're going to do this is we're going to start with an intro, and Arwin will just take over and share his journey breaking into technology from biotech, and then we're going to open up to Q&As, right? So cool. Let's just begin now. So thanks everyone for joining in. My name is Derek, and I am the co-founder of Sigma School. And we have with us today. It's our great pleasure to have Arwin, a good friend of mine who was from a background in biotech, and he kind of learned how to code on his own, and eventually after 2 to 3 years built up his career as a tech lead in an AI startup, which I think is really interesting. So I'm sure you guys will be learning a lot from him today. So without further ado, Arwin, feel free to take the wheel.
Hey, awesome, Derek. Thank you for the intro. Yeah. So hi guys, my name's Arwin. Currently the cloud and data lead at Tapway. So really, it's been I'll say it's been quite a journey. Really, when I think about it, you know, and man, I wonder where I can start. So yes, I think it really all started, since my A level days, back during those days when I wasn't, sure what I was doing. And for you guys, for those of you who don't know what A level is, it's like a Cambridge program that prepares you, for universities. Some universities they need A levels for you to, be able to even apply for them, especially I think UK universities, Australian universities, and so on. Yeah, but the thing is, of course, during those days when I took A level, so basically, what happened was before I started my A levels, I got a scholarship from the government to pursue, studies. It was a JPS scholarship basically, and I had the freedom to choose just about any major, any course I wanted. But in a way, with so much freedom, you may think it's an advantage, and yes, definitely it was. But at the same time, it introduced a lot of uncertainty. And I think back then I just wanted to do medicine, and that was in my mind. And the only reason really I wanted to do medicine was because my teachers wanted me to do that. My mom wanted me to do that. You know how it is, right? But really, there was no fundamental like reasoning behind that. It's not like I really loved it, or I really wanted to be a good doctor and so on. So fast forward, a few years. So I took A levels. It took 2 years, and I ended up, getting a few offers from a few U.S. universities. Funnily enough, I initially applied for engineering. That was the initial plan for if I wanted to go to the U.S. Because they're known for their engineering programs, and I was like, okay, let me just try this. And what happened was, okay, I ended up accepting an offer to go to University of California, Davis. So they're known mostly for their life sciences. I think they're one of the best vet schools in the world. So I changed my major actually before going into there to biotech. So I think I got an offer for civil engineering from UC Davis, and I then switched my major. And I think the switch didn't take too long. I think it was like 1 month, and they were like, okay, we're happy to do the switch. And there I was entering UC Davis as a biotech major. So first year was a breeze because A levels, the way A levels was designed was that you learn quite a lot, and and when you enter U.S. universities with A levels, it's kind of you realize that A level was kind of an overkill. Like you learn quite a lot of chemistry. So I took chemistry, biology, physics, and math basically. So I realized my chemistry classes were easy. I could have skipped one of the classes, but I wanted to, I just wanted the credit because why not? But things got a little different second year onward in my university. I started realizing that classes were getting a little bit deep into biotech, and I wasn't quite enjoying it too much because I think I didn't quite see the big picture. I thought, and also, funnily enough, second year into my university, I took a programming class, an intro to programming class, but I didn't actually enjoy it. So, I don't know why. I took it because I was curious, but at the same time, maybe the way the intro to programming class was structured, didn't quite help beginners really get into coding. I think that was really the issue. So I was like, after taking that class, I was like, nah, programming is not for me. So I initially considered like taking a minor in programming or computer science, really. But yeah, I was like, scratch that, and I'll continue with my typical, biotech major classes. So third year came, and those when classes start to get really hard because that's the time when we would take like upper division classes. So it goes to the details. We learn genomics, functional genomics. We start having labs, and it was also during that time when I took up an internship related to biotech in a way, biology, and it was when it started to dawn on me, like I'm not quite having fun. Like my third year was kind of a bad year. I even considered dropping out. That was how bad it was. I asked my friends, "Hey, should I drop out?" And they were like, "Yo, you're almost done school. Just get over it, and think about what you want to do next time. After you graduate." And I was like, "You know what? You're right." Um, so yeah, it was funny because I think I didn't go back home. So I was in the U.S. For like I think up until the third year. I only went back home once. So at the end of my third year, I was like, you know what? I need to go back home. I need a mental reset. So I went back home, came back home to Malaysia. So my hometown was in Miri, Sarawak. So I was like, you know what? Let me have a mental reset to meet the family, eat mom's food, things like that. And yeah, I decided to learn a bit of programming myself because my friends had always joked with me, hey, Arwin, you should learn programming because one of my friends was a computer science major, another was a statistics major. Yeah, then they were always jokingly telling me, "Hey, Arwin, learn some coding," but I would always shrug it off and say, "Hey, maybe next time, maybe next time." And I was like, you know what, let me just try it out. So I started by learning SQL. Weirdly enough, during the end of my third year, and I was in Malaysia for summer break, and I started enjoying it. Yeah, SQL. Then I started learning Python on my own, and I was like, you know what, I want to do something with this. So going back to university, so that was already my last year, my fourth year. At that time, I still didn't know what I wanted to do in life. Um, I then, got an internship. So it was a bioinformatics internship, but the thing is, how bioinformatics works. It's like a marriage between like biology and also computer science. It's like making use of computer science to make sense of biological data. So then, yeah, it was. I was lucky enough to secure an internship in one of the labs at UC Davis, and I got to work with a PhD student who was I think, computational. He was studying computational biology, which is pretty awesome. And I still remember his question to me. He was like, "Wait, I thought you were a computer science major." Yeah, so I was like, "No, yeah, I really wanted to, learn things up and do things, right? Do things with Python and programming." So I learned a lot from him. So this was when I realized mentorship is super important. So he was my mentor for like a good, I think, 6 months, probably up to a year. So I worked with him on a project that used Python, SQLite, and GitHub, Git, these fundamental stuff basically. And basically our idea was to, have a sort of a universal, like a globally accessible database for NMR data. So NMR is nuclear magnetic resonance. So if you learn chemistry, biology, you will have heard this. Yeah, that was the idea basically. So I learned a lot from him. He was unpaid, but I really wanted to learn, and he was a great guide to me. And I think really that internship of mine made me realize, biology is not for me. Like biology, like by itself, is not for me, but rather using programming to do stuff with it. Do it from the comfort of your computer. You have your internet, and you're good to go. So yeah, so graduated. I think in my last year also, I then decided to take up a few fundamental programming classes, computer science classes, including data structures and algorithms, and discrete math. So yeah, I just decided to take them just to get the fundamentals out of the way. So yeah, graduated. So fast forward up until 2020. Man, this was 2020, June 2020. It was when I graduated, spring of 20. Came back home to Malaysia. I think I spent about a month in the US, hung out with friends, and just had some fun before coming back. July 20, reached Malaysia. And when I was quarantined, back then it was MCO or something, or rather, yeah. So I had to be quarantined for 5 days in a hotel, and I was like, I'm feeling bored. Let me apply for some jobs, And there was when I started applying for jobs, and I was like, what kind of job can I apply to? I had a biotech major, but at the same time, I don't really want to do biotech. I want to do something techy, something related to programming. So then I started applying. I started applying for data analyst jobs, software engineer jobs, full stack engineer jobs. I just applied. And I think on my resume, I really focused on my experience, the impact that I brought, what tools that I used, and things like that. And yeah, got quite a few offers actually. And I think one was working in a sort of a biotech company that actually uses programming. And then another offer was from a digital marketing company, which is pretty interesting. And then it offers, pretty much, I think out of like 7 interviews that I went to. So pretty much what this means that they actually looked at my resume and they didn't discount me because I had a biotech major. So out of the 7 interviews I attended, 7 or 8, I got offers from 6 of them. So I was like, you know what? Maybe because they gave me a chance to show myself, that I showed myself like, during the interview. I think all I needed was that chance just to get through that, screening phase. Because I think a lot of people, a lot of company or HR at that time, probably what I guess is that they see my background, not a computer science background. That's it. So I think this goes to show. I think that was when I realized, wow, I totally wasn't expecting it. I don't think I was. I think I was only called for an interview for a single biotech position. That was actually crazy. So yeah, got a few offers and Tapway. So this is our shirt. So Tapway was one of them who offered me a full stack data. I think junior data full stack engineer position. And I was like, yo, I had the chance to learn AWS. It was kind of a startup company. I can see that it was very fast paced. And I was like, you know what? I think this is the place for me to learn a lot and, have some autonomy in the beginning, be part of a founding team in a way. So yeah, never looked back. So now it's been around 1 year and 10 months in Tapway. Was crazy. I think did multiple projects. I think one of the first was doing ETL, so extract, transform, and load, data using serverless technology. That was one, and then the second project was it had something to do with the real-time queue analytics solution. So that one's actually in IKEA Singapore, IKEA Gem Singapore. So basically, we can show the real-time queue count on the TV. So that one's pretty fun. And then I did a bit of assessment of driving tests using cloud inference. So that's what we're currently working on actually. So working with a talented team, really enjoy working with them. So I wouldn't say it's been easy, but it's not easy. If it's easy, it would have made me grow. So I was challenged all the time, every single day in Tapway, and I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, so a bit of backstory. So I met Derek because I was just looking up for opportunities, see where I can contribute my skills and have more fun with the tech. So I think it was through Ming, and I met Derek, and I was like, hey, let's try to do something one day, and because I'm also a big proponent of education, like like being independent learner and things like that. So I do a bit of freelancing. So I'm a tutor. I tutor for physics and math, and yeah, that's primarily on Fiverr. That's where I market my gigs, and yeah, I have a lot of fun tutoring others. Have a lot of fun, solving problems and just understanding my tutees like pain points and addressing them. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks, man. Arwin, just before we go into Q&A, could you also explain a little bit about what exactly do you work on currently, and who are the people you work with, and what's your plans for the future before we go into Q&A?
Right. So what I work on currently, I think it's really the projects wise. Projects wise, it would be mainly, I would say 2 things, or really 3 things. Number one is the automation of driving video assessment. So basically we partner up with a client to they're basically sending us driving video streams directly to the cloud, and we make inference in the cloud, and we tell them if the driver has committed a certain violation, like hitting the curbs and so on. So that's one. Secondly would be AWS foundational technical review. So basically it would help to qualify our software, so basically saying, allowing us to gain certain benefits. Basically it allows us to say, hey, our software is safe, it has no security breach whatsoever, and AWS can then funnel more support for our company. That's number 2. Number 3 would be, mostly I would say upgrading our data pipeline in the company. So we have right now we do a lot of the ETL in the cloud, but what we want to do is reduce our dependence, on cloud and kind of make our software more agnostic, like cloud agnostic, meaning we don't want to depend on any particular cloud service. So we want to offload, we want to migrate that ETL logic to the edge, because so basically we have a solution that classifies vehicle license plate and vehicle type at the edge real time. So we have powerful servers anyway. So why don't you use that, take advantage of that to do transformation at the edge instead of batching them in the cloud and transforming them. So those are, I would say, the projects I do. And the people I work with, we have mainly three teams in the tech team. So we have the DevOps team, or we call them systems AI team. So they're in charge of deployment, testing, all that good stuff. I also work closely with the AI team. Oh, really, four teams, my bad. So the AI team, the second team. So as you guys know, they're in charge of training the model, using the right data, and things like that. And then I'm in the cloud and data team. So mainly what we do is as its name suggests, mainly I would help to architect cloud solutions, create data pipelines, APIs for the team, and also there's a small team for front end. So they mainly work on Angular and also GraphQL. So they work on creating dashboards, because clients love the dashboards, and also our team also make use of dashboards. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I think in terms of role, right, we have front end developer, right, CV engineer, AI engineer, DevOps engineer. We have tech support, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Last one. What are your plans for the future?
Yeah, good
Going
question.
forward. Yes. What are
Yeah.
you looking for next in your career?
Yeah. So I guess I think joining a big tech company that'd be nice. And then down the line, working anywhere in the world, freelancing,
Working remotely.
remotely,
Freelancing
nomad.
remotely.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Arwin, for that sharing. I think it's a very good summary in terms of understanding your background, where you came from, how do you eventually come into technology. So guys, John, Jiawei, and Abdul, thanks, or Hadi, thanks for joining in. I think we're going to open up to Q&As now, and for any one of you watching in the future, feel free to connect with us as well if you have any questions for Arwin. But I'll just begin with my question, right? So when you were in the US, you said you spent 3 years there, and you came back only once.
4 years,
right?
yeah.
4 years, right? But
Oh
you
yeah,
didn't
3
come back.
years, came back once, and then came
Yeah,
to the US.
why did you not continue working there?
Yeah, good question. So I think a lot of people ask me this question, so it's no surprise. So really, really simply speaking, it's we are bonded to the contract. So when we sign the contract to get the scholarship, we agree that we will work in Malaysia for 4 years before getting released. Yeah.
I see. Did
Which
you
I
have
think,
plans to go back?
like to the US to work?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But in fact, it's not just the US, but a lot of other countries do, anywhere really. But I think it makes a lot of sense, the 4 years, because what, if I were given quite a huge financial help by the government, I want to give back in some way.
No, definitely, right? Grow the talent pool in Malaysia as well, because like tech is so scarce right now, right? So cool. So Arwin is a self-taught developer in some ways. He did go to university, but in the grand scheme of things, he learned from his I would say, would you say the biggest jump in your skill sets was during that project with the PhD guy?
Definitely,
right?
Right.
So
yeah.
what was your level back then when you started being able to add value to this guy? What was your level of understanding with code?
Yeah, good question. So I would say at that point, I could do at least, I know my functions in Python, functions, looping. I know basic SQL. I could join tables, and then also a little bit of a Linux command, because I did end up needing to use Linux commands when working with him. I think that was really it. Yeah.
Oh, cool, man. And what was your level before you got your very first job at Tabway?
Right. I think it was really at that point basic data structures and algorithms. I didn't know cloud, interestingly. I just knew how to use EC2 in AWS, which is Elastic Compute. I think around the same, but with hands-on experience instead. Being able to connect, being able to use code to like solve problems in that sense.
So you were very good with SQL already, I'm guessing, back then, because after 6 months of parsing through tons of data with the PhD guy, right? But in terms of your skill sets in, let's say, building APIs, front end, back end, what was your level back then?
Right. Believe it or not, I did not know how to build APIs joining Tapway. It
Whoa.
was all about, just straight up fundamentals, I guess, using
Whoa,
code
really?
and yeah.
Okay, could you share with us? So just to bring ourselves back 2 3 years ago, when you first came back from US, your level was all you had was some SQ. You had a degree in bioinformatics or biotech or
Biotech with
biotech,
the specialization in bioinformatics. Yeah.
right? So you had a degree in biotech, and your level was some SQL experience, and that's it, and some fundamentals, coding, solving problems, kind of thing, right? That was your level back then.
Yeah.
Cool. And what was your numbers like in terms of applying for jobs? How many jobs did you apply? How many interviews were you invited for? And what's the
Right.
closing rate like? And what was the thing that you felt made you stand out compared to other applicants?
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. Great question. So I wish I had the spreadsheet pulled up, but I don't. I actually don't have a spreadsheet. I just listed down in Google Docs. It was probably a
Oh,
bad way of managing things. Yeah.
yeah.
It should have been a spreadsheet. Um, I think I applied for around 100 plus easily.
Like what kind of apply? Like
Yeah.
writing a full cover letter, that kind of thing, or just LinkedIn apply?
LinkedIn apply, easy apply. That
Easy
was
apply.
one. Easy apply. I mostly applied on LinkedIn. Interestingly, I'm not sure why. I know in Malaysia, I know we're big on Job Street, and probably others too. But I didn't quite make use of those. Mostly LinkedIn, I would say.
LinkedIn.
But sometimes you know how LinkedIn they direct you to their website.
Yes, yes.
So that happened sometimes. Yeah.
Okay,
And yeah, like I said, I only heard back from around 7 or 8. But once I got the interview phase,
you closed it
um, pretty much, yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
How many did you know for sure you wanted to go into tech, or you were just exploring? You were considering biotech as well, right? I believe.
Yeah, definitely. Because why not? I feel like if anything, you want to bank on your strengths, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So Jiawei over here actually has a degree in biotech, and I think he worked in
awesome.
one of Malaysia's biggest biotech uh, companies in stem cell, Cryocort, right? Jiawei. So yeah, what are some companies in Malaysia that does biotech, and why did you? What's the fundamental one reason that made you choose software over biotech?
Right. So to be frank, when I came back here, I didn't have a good knowledge about what biotech companies there are in Malaysia. That's how bad it was. Yeah, I think it was mostly because I think in my circle, really my friends, like I didn't have like a lot of friends like doing biotech, during that time, and especially in Malaysia, of course, right? Especially in
Cool.
Malaysia. So yeah, I wasn't aware of who's doing what are the
Cool.
big companies. I just basically looked online and see what jobs there are related to
How
biotech.
long was your job search before you got your roles?
1 month to I think around 1 month actually. I started applying 1 month and I just waited. Yeah, because I think
And you were doing
yeah,
it full time, like unemployed, just applying full time. What were you doing?
exactly. Yeah.
Were you just applying, or were you learning as well at the same time?
Yeah, good question. So I was on quarantine. So I think really when I first applied for jobs because I was bored. So that was funny. And then so I was quarantined for 2 weeks, and then within the next 2 weeks, I was already hearing back from 1 or 2 companies, and it was like a snowball effect because once I heard back, I had to prepare for interviews in a way. I had to sometimes they gave me homework, so then I didn't have time to apply for more jobs in that sense. So
Yep.
I kind of halted at some point and focused on passing the interviews.
So this is a question for a lot of people, especially our students, or even just students in general from universities, always asking about, working for cheap or working for free in internships. What's your take on this?
Right. For me, at the end of the day, as long as both parties are happy, you're good to go. Because I'll just give you an example, right? If Facebook offered you internship for free, chances are you probably take it, right? And chances are you're probably gonna take it. So my take is as long as you know your worth and you're happy to do things for a certain price, whether it's free or not. I think that's really it. But it really depends, right? Because typically bigger companies like Facebook, they have more you know purchasing power. They have more money to splash around, and you know chances are they're going to pay the interns. But what I mean to say is that as long as you're not doing it, as long as you feel happy doing the internship for a certain price, I think that's good enough. Yeah.
I completely agree with you on that, because at the end of the day, if there was two Arwins in this world and one Arwin worked for Facebook for free, another Arwin didn't work for Facebook for free. Well, the one who worked for Facebook would have been higher value. I mean, seen as higher value in the eyes of other employers as well, right? So, cool. Thanks for sharing that, right? So now, fast forward to today, after 2 years plus in Tapway doing data. So you were hired initially to do what? Because you said you were what, junior full stack data engineer, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. And so what were you doing back then as a full stack data engineer? And what are you doing now? Why is it different?
Right. So it was kind of funny because I think the company was sort of trying to build in-house tech team, that would later grow by quite a lot. I think we kind of tripled in size, the tech team,
Nice.
since then. So yeah, when I joined, the job scope was really wide. It would say AWS, Azure, GCP, using doing data transformation, Elasticsearch queries, databases. I think it was mostly on the cloud side, cloud and data, although it was full stack. But I guess within that full stack, really what the emphasis was on building dashboards,
Right.
informing clients, making people, helping people make data-driven decisions.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that was mainly that. So when I first came in, funnily enough, I was working on a bit of computer vision stuff.
Oh, wow.
So it was just a little bit for like a few weeks, and then I moved on to mostly data.
Okay, so they were basically just putting you around all over the place wherever there was help required, and you just learned on the job, and eventually you were placed in data, cloud and data, right? Where you really did really well and you excelled and you managed the team. So like in terms of as a lead today, right? What are a few criteria you would look at when it comes to hiring someone not senior, someone junior, entry level? Let's say 3.5K, 4K level salary range.
Right. Yeah, great question. So like always, right? I think fundamentals beat pretty much a lot of things. Like if you know a lot of things about cloud, but your fundamentals are not there, it will take time to build fundamentals. So I would say fundamentals. I would say knowing your data structures and algorithms. They'll be nice to have. They'll be good to have. And of course, I think secondly, we look at the way you think. Sometimes maybe we understand you're not from a computer science background, right? Completely understand, but we see the way you think, the way you approach problems, debugging skills. If not clear about about the question, ask, because in a startup company like ours, if we assign you a task, we're sometimes so fast paced, and if 1 week has passed and you're still not clear about what you want to do, chances are you're going to hurt the team because everyone's so important. So I would say the ability, again, data structures, algorithms, very good fundamentals, the way you think, troubleshoot, asking the right questions, and yeah, good communication. I think that's always
awesome.
appreciated.
Thanks for that. Sounds like it's more on the soft side of things with some fundamental knowledge rather than, hey, you need to know strictly AWS, EC2, EC3, that kind of thing, right? It's more understanding fundamentals of being able to learn up on the job and, obviously communicating with your team. Cool. So if you had, let's say 1 month as a complete beginner, right? Yeah, 1 month or let's say 2 months to learn up a new skill to get a job in tech, what would you focus on? What kind of things will you really double down on?
So 1 month to get a job in tech, is it?
Yes, 1 month. It can be any job, but internship is considered a job as well.
And like software engineering, I guess. Software engineer.
Yeah, in software.
Yeah, I would say data structure and algorithm.
Data structure, just go all out.
Lead code all the way. Yeah, lead code all the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, when you say data structures and algorithms, do you mean things like, do I need to understand time and space complexity, big O notation?
Yep.
Do I need to know those things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it goes a long way, because when you write inefficient code, like even in cloud, if you serverless functions, the longer the execution time, the more it's going to hurt the team in terms of cost. And it goes a long way, pretty much. So we don't want to accumulate technical debt and have to come back to fixing the code. And so I think once you have the fundamentals, we believe you can learn other things, like learning how to the cloud tools, learning how to solve problems with code. And
Okay. Will you say that then if someone has fundamentals, they're ready to start going all out applying for jobs already?
I would say it helps, but a plus is always hands-on, right? Because the thing is, okay, if you have some hands-on like project experience, it shows two things. Number one is you know how to apply what you learned, and number two is you're actually interested in
Yeah.
coding or solving problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely have some hands-on experience, I would say.
Would you agree? Let's say someone they quit the job, they're learning full time, they learn for one month. Would you agree that if this person is able to quit their job and dedicate 1 to 2 months to just learning, and then taking up let's say a free internship, working on good software stuff, right? Not an internship doing admin stuff, but an internship actually doing software. Would you say this is the fastest path to a job? Would you agree when I say this?
Mm, Fastest path. Yeah, I mean, definitely anything hands-on, especially in a professional
Anything
setting,
hands-on, right?
like you said. Yeah, working in a team would be great.
Working in the team.
In a team, I would say that's a plus. But if you can, own a project and do it well, nothing wrong with that. But if you can work in a team, even better, because people are looking for team players also.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What do you think about remote work? Because currently, you're not remote currently, right? Are you?
We're doing hybrid. Yeah,
Hybrid, yeah.
2 days at the office, 3 days remote.
Right. Awesome. So, what do you think about it? Because some people hate it a lot. Like, I actually spoke to quite a lot of people who told me that, Derek, I hate remote. I want to be in the office. I'm like, okay, cool. And some people said, screw going to the office. I need it to be remote. Some people said hybrid. So, what do you think about this?
Right. I'm actually a big proponent of remote work, like even 100%.
100%.
But at the same time, I feel like when someone just first joined the company, I feel like it's good to have that face-to-face interaction.
Initially, right? Initially.
Think about mentorship. I feel like when you explain stuff to someone, I feel like it's still different when you do it remotely. So I would say the first few months, I would say onboarding, perhaps having it done in person would be ideal. But of course, I'm not undermining the fact that remote work is not good. It's good, but sometimes you want to feel the connectedness, as humans.
As humans,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
As
To
humans,
just break the ice and get to
break
know
the
someone.
ice, get to know, yeah, maybe gain some trust and all that,
Definitely, yeah.
And once you're in the groove, yeah, full remote all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say your plan is to eventually, let's say, go freelancing full time in cloud, or would you rather work, in a remote job? Which one would you choose?
Right, like a full-time remote
Yeah,
job,
if you
right?
choose one, yes.
Freelance, 100%.
Freelance, 100%
Yes,
freelance.
because time is on your hands. You get to choose your time, and I have a schedule. Like I would share to my clients. They just book my time, and I set the availability. So if
Yeah.
it works for them, it works for me.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, it comes down to control. You get more control in terms of who
Autonomy,
you
yeah.
work with, what you do, and you get paid the same or even more, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
say
the
that's
rate that you want. You can set the rate.
Okay. So if you could, let's say, focus on something down the line, regardless if it's career, let's just talk about skill sets. If you could focus on a skill set down the line, that you deem is important, what would that one skill set be? For you, for
Wow.
yourself.
Skill sets.
Yes.
Um,
For yourself, as someone with 3 years of experience and someone who is fundamentally in a lead position, what would you focus on?
right. I think it would be something to do with something I'm lacking, if anything. Something
Okay.
that I think needs improvement. Yeah, I would say being a better leader. Yeah, I think knowing where to draw the line between, it's kind of vague, but it's more of really knowing your boundaries as a leader. You know, drawing the line between maybe being too considerate and being too strict.
That's hard, right?
It's hard because everyone's different. And this is what I learned. Also, everyone works differently. Everyone has their own strengths. And then they could have a bad day, a bad week, and they're not producing the results. So I think the ability to maybe have the instinct or the ability to assess someone's situation, basically drawing the line there,
Drawing the
between
line,
being too
too
hard and being too
yes.
nice in that
That's always
sense.
the hardest part, right? That's always the
Yeah.
hardest part. Would you say,
Yeah.
have you heard of the myth of the 10 times developer?
I've heard of it. Yeah, heard of it.
What do you think about it? Do they exist? Are you one? How do you become one?
Well, I think the idea behind that, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, is to just increase productivity like 10 times by doing like a small
Yeah, just solving the same problem, but doing it 10 times faster, right? Making your value as a developer 10 times more than another developer. What do you think about this?
big believer in it. So even
Big
before I
believer
think,
in it, yeah.
yeah, even before I heard about that, like I think I was starting on it a little bit, in my company. So first thing, so funnily enough, when I first joined my company, because I was startup-ish company, we didn't have much documentation when it comes to certain things, and I was the one who, you know, what do you call that? Uh, the advocated really was pushing for documenting stuff,
That's good.
documenting things, because I
Definitely.
realized that because I myself had issues, say, picking up existing solutions because documentation was scarce, it was not as good, and it was not easy. Um, so yeah, documentation goes a long way. I think it has helped our team propel forward, and I think that's one of the 10x things that I did for the company, which I
Basically,
saw, yeah,
yeah.
helped us a lot. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yep. Yep. Completely agree with that. So now just following back to the question where I was asking you about what would that one skill be that you would focus on as a lead, right? Now let's change that perspective a little bit. What would that one skill set be for an entry level person, or even the pre-entry level, right? Someone still in uni or someone still learning to code currently. What would that one skill, that one thing that you would want them to double, triple down on?
Oh man, I want to say problem solving, but I'm not sure if that's
Is
too
people
general.
skills more important or data structures? If you could choose one.
For entry level developer.
Let's say mediocre talking skills, like you can talk but not super well, but you can code 7 out of 10, right? But or the other way around, where your coding skills is 5 out of 10, but you can talk 7 out of 10. Which one would it be?
This one's tough. This one's tough.
This one's tough.
Yeah, because at the same, if your communication is good, it's also a plus because then you can also understand things better, and you can probably read better, and read documentation and learn from that better. Um, yeah, this is tough. I would say there's no hard answer.
No hard answer, right?
No
Depends
hard
on the
answer.
case.
Yeah, depends. Yeah,
Okay. Would you say it's hard to hire today?
hard to hire.
To hire, like as a tech lead in your company, right? Is it hard to hire talents? Like, is it hard to find
It
talents?
is.
It is. How
Yes.
hard is it?
Yeah. Hard to the point where we would get like candidates applying to the company, but I do think that sometimes they don't even meet like the minimum requirements that we expect,
Which
and
isn't very high, right? Which is
which is not high.
fundamentals, right?
Yeah, it's not like Google level, right? It's not even, sometimes we don't even test too much in data structure. Sometimes you just want to test some looping, conditionals,
Really, and they
Yeah,
can't deliver on that.
yeah, yeah.
Really,
We've seen those things. Yeah.
would you say out of I mean, not trying to be point fingers or anything, but out of 10 computer science graduates, how many would you say are not prepared for the role?
Well, yeah. I'm not sure if I can give the stats like that, but um, hard to say. Hard to say. I think it's a matter of luck, really. And
Matter of luck. My
yeah,
goodness.
matter of luck in terms of candidates that we get applying to the company. Um, there are a lot of factors at play, right? Recruiters, our recruiters reaching out to the right people. Are
Right.
we
Wait, do you
having?
guys pay recruiters?
No, no,
Oh, no, no,
not that I
in-house.
know of. Yeah,
In-house.
as far as I know,
Okay.
for the tech team. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
I could be
And
wrong
what about
though.
yourself? What about yourself? As someone with 3 years of tech experience, like the tech
I guess
industry is
I,
scarce, right?
I
I
guess 3 years
believe.
including my internship.
No, I mean like for
Right.
yourself currently today, right? Because tech talents are always very scarce. At entry level, it's scarce. At mid level, I'm guessing it's gonna be even more scarce. At lead level, it's even more scarce, right? So like, which I'm guessing is a good thing for you, right? It means that more companies are reaching out to you, right? What do you think about this? Is that correct? Am I right to say that you're getting opportunities left and right everywhere?
That is true. That is
That
true.
is true.
Even without applying, and I'm sure the same goes to you, Derek.
No, I'm just asking to understand, because no, because you're a tech lead. It's very different, right? I'm more of a business guy who knows tech, so I am getting quite a lot of opportunities everywhere. But you are someone who knows fundamentally very, very, very deeply about one technology, and that has benefits to it as well, right? So then my question will be, no, like with full respect to that way, just wondering like why, like I just want to understand like the thought process of somebody who is high in demand, somebody who can carry himself well, and somebody who is a lead, right? What does it take to attract a talent like this? Like for yourself, for example, why do you stay with this company? um,
Right, right. I think number one is learning opportunities. So I joined Tabway. So I'll be transparent. Tabway wasn't they didn't offer the best compensation package out of the offers that I got in my first job application. I think they were probably, yeah. In fact, something that I learned down the line, I did not negotiate my offers at all in my first job
you just took it.
application. Yeah, I just took it. So don't do that, guys. So, but you know what? I think even had I turned back time and went back to that moment in time, I wouldn't have probably negotiated, because I think I came here and I got what I came for, which was to learn. So number one is learning opportunities. So we talk about challenging projects, what kind of tools you get to work with, the autonomy, because in startups typically you can make more decisions, but of course you need to justify your decisions. Um, so I would say, and number two, sorry, learning opportunities, and number two is compensation. Not gonna lie, I mean, if you want to attract good talents, compensation has to be up there. So that's because obviously, right? I think that's pretty clear. And then maybe the third is maybe things like um, remote work, right? Ability to work remotely. To me, that's a huge advantage in itself, because that means you reduce commute time, you save money,
No, definitely,
just
definitely.
by eliminating that commuting element. Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. Um, what would you say is, if because you're talking about negotiating salary, right? Um, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, should everybody at least do it, or should they just take it, just take what they were given?
Yeah, this is again very
It's
dependent
tough,
on
right?
the. It's tough, yeah. It dependent on the person's situation, and I would say it comes down to knowing your worth, knowing
Mm.
where you stand in the market, and the only way you can do that is to apply for many jobs. Apply for as
How,
many jobs you can. Yeah.
how can a person, because just now you mentioned as well, learning opportunities, right? I think there's this very famous quote by, I don't know who it was, but he said that in every role you do, there's only two goals you want to do, right? Either you learn or you earn. It has to either be either one of it, right? So when it comes to learning, I'm a big fan of someone, especially in the tech industry, investing in the right tech stack. I've met so many people, by the way, who has because currently the famous frameworks in the world currently, you have Node, Express, you have Vue, you have AWS. These are famous ones which we are focusing on, and they're mostly open source. Then people use it across big startups. There are actually a lot of private frameworks. Don't know if you know that. A lot of private frameworks where companies build in-house for themselves. And I've met a lot of developers who's dedicated 3 to 4 to 5 years of their life learning those private frameworks, and then now they can't find any jobs elsewhere, right? So I think I agree with you when you mentioned learning and the potential of the technology, the potential of what you do, right, plays a big part. So I think let me ask one last question. What was it again? Before I open up to Q&As for the rest. So for those of you who has questions, you can ask. What was that question that I had? Okay, yes. I asked you just now, what are your goals next, right? You mentioned you wanted to go to bigger companies, bigger name companies, right? So for everyone watching this now or in the future, would you say it's better to get a job in a startup or a big company? What's your view on this?
Wow, this is an excellent question. Something that I've pondered upon for the past few months. I've been watching tons of YouTube videos,
Uh-huh.
articles, read articles on this, and yeah, so maybe I can share my thoughts here. So, for one, big tech companies, you need to realize something. They're always going to have a huge applicant pool, a competitive applicant pool applying to them on a daily basis, nonstop, right? Whereas for startups, right, they could be hidden gems, meaning applicants are not quite, going for these guys, but they could be companies that allow you to grow exponentially. So I think these are things to keep in mind. I mean, of course, you can grow exponentially in big tech companies too, but probably not to the degree of a startup, because in a startup, there's no limit, meaning you finish things fast, you finish a project fast, pick up another project. You can just go, right? And really, you're the limiting factor in the startup, in my opinion.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, so having said that, which one should you go first at your first job? I'll say it really depends, right? It depends on what your goals are in life. If you want to sort of, you know, uh, if you want to be, I would say more in a comfort position. Big tech company would be good because they have great compensation benefits, right? But chances are you're going to be working on a small feature, right? You're going to be working with a big team, and things
Yes.
move a bit slowly. But compensation is nice, right? So it's really up to you. But startup, if you want to challenge yourself, maybe you want to think of, I don't know, creating your own company. I think startups are great environments to learn that, because you see everything. Like me personally, what I can vouch for is that I did not only learn how to code, but I also learned things like communicating with clients, managing a product. I've done things like this because I joined a startup. And these are things that I picked up, on an ad hoc basis, and I started doing it more because I was, the team needed that. You wouldn't be able to have these opportunities in a big tech company.
Yeah.
But at the same time, also know that in startups, they're challenging, and you probably at some point maybe you don't feel like you're compensated enough for what you do. So yeah, I mean, just be transparent, right, with the team and say, hey, right, I think I'm doing too much. I want to slow things down, or at that point, just change jobs. And since you have accumulated so much experience, so
awesome. Just to add on to that as well, I think then it boils down. Would you agree that it boils down to your end goal as well, right? Because if your end goal is to have a more comfortable, calm life where you focus on one thing, because if you think about it, a huge product like Facebook, for example, they get the best engineers in the world, but these engineers, they don't really work on everything. They focus on one product. For example, just the search bar. For example, just a commenting tool, right? Whereas in a startup like Arwin probably had to handle everything from end to end, right? So Arwin gets to see the whole life cycle, the whole process of building software, from front end to back end to cloud to deployment to managing expectations to managing a team, chasing timelines, PM, project management to managing designs as well, right? It's more holistic. It's more well-rounded. So if your goal, like yourself, Arwin, what would you say is my final question for you right now? What would you say is your goals in this lifetime? For example, is it more like to be a CTO level person, right? Become a CTO of your own startup? Or would you say you want to do business or freelancing or become a digital nomad, right? Screw all these big name companies. I want to live on my own terms, travel the world, that kind of thing. Which one would it be?
Yeah, we're talking end goal, right? End goal.
End goal, yes. What will make you contented at the end of the day?
I think it's just digital nomad and being a consultant. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just interesting to interact with people from all over the world, and knowing their pain points, and just I guess work whenever I want to.
Awesome. There's this video. Let me drop you a link maybe after this. It's called "How to Become a High Value Consultant" by Chris Do. Have you watched it before?
No.
Freaking awesome video. You should check it out. If your path is to be a consultant, Chris Do is just sharing how you can charge $1,000 to $5,000 per hour. Per hour, right? $1,000 to $5,000. So he's just talking about how you psychologically walk through the project, and how do you talk about value adding and all that kind of stuff. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So I think guys, thanks for joining in. I'm gonna open up to Q&As now. So all of you here, Jawei, Nelson, Jackson, and Hadi, thanks for joining in. Feel free to ask questions that you have now to Arwin.
All right. Thanks, Derek and Arwin, for awesome sharing down your journey. All right. So briefly introduce myself. I come from a cell molecular biology background as well. All right. I'm in your SUS before. All right. I did believe you did a lot of blasts before, right? And bioinformatics is one of the not my subject back in the day in college. All right. So my question is could you like give one advice or suggestion for someone like me back in your shoes back then, like just stepping into like tech field?
Right. So the question: did you ever get to do programming in your course?
No, I didn't get a chance.
Okay. Stepping into tech, like I guess when you said stepping into my field, you mean like tech, right? Like software engineering and things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say start small. Start by learning. I think there are two ways to approach it. Number one is you start with the fundamentals and learn data structures, algorithms, which could be boring, by the way. So maybe not the best way to get into programming. I would say another way would be to do hands-on projects. Make a to-do list. This project's like probably one of the most common projects when it comes to picking up programming. Make a to-do list. Make a make a database, right? Store employee company data in that and query the data. Make a website. You can start off by something that kills two birds with one stone. What I mean by that, right? Because you're always going to show, you need a resume, you need a portfolio. So might as well make a website and make it a portfolio website and learn the fundamentals of programming while doing so. So I would say do something, straight up, just do something. Collaborate with some friends on a project. And start off with that. And eventually you do want to pick up some fundamentals, because it's good to have awareness of, what makes an efficient application, just having that mindset that you don't just code, but rather you code to make sure that the app runs smoothly, efficiently. I think that's why it's called software engineer. You're not just making stuff, but you're also solving problems, making sure your solutions are efficient. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much do projects, do stuff.
All right,
coding.
cool. Just do something that showcase my fundamental, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, interest. Yeah, interest also.
Cool. Thanks, Arwin.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyone else? Go ahead, guys. Don't be shy. Arwin doesn't bite. Arwin's very nice.
Yeah, just just one curious question back then. Did you apply like any biotech company back in Malaysia or just overseas company or just in Malaysia?
Just in Malaysia. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. So you did get some offer from local biotech company?
Biotech, only one. So only one called back and wanted to interview
Oh.
me. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Maybe I was applying on the wrong platform. I don't know. I just did LinkedIn. I should have
Mm.
diversified my my
But I did,
application
I
platform.
did LinkedIn as well. I didn't go through like Job Street, anything. Yeah, same.
You should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so Arwin, would you say, with the growth of, genomics today and, the potential of biotechnology in the next 10 years, right? And with software is obviously growing as well, but biotech is still going through that exponential phase. So software has been through it already, right? Web 2 and all that. It's been through that exponential phase already. Biotech, in fact, is up and coming, right? Do you see a potential of you going back into biotech? Or we say, do you regret going to software?
No regrets.
No regrets.
Definitely no regret going to software. And I do agree that there's still a lot of potential to be, realized when it comes to biology and computer science, combined together. Because there's so much biological data going on, and even AI, right? There's a lot of AI applications that that can make genomics even more powerful than it is at this point, or just healthcare in general.
And the power of learning how to code, or the power of being a programmer, is you can match this skill set up with any other industries, right? So right now, Arwin, if you were to go to a genomics company or an AI company that does biotech, you're going to stand out so much more compared to another software engineer with no experience in biotech, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I think I think it's more of a because at some point you need to be able to understand the basics of biology, right? And sort of applications and things like CRISPR. It's not the easiest thing to understand. And I think CRISPR, is something that I'm interested in, but at this point, but I feel like it's
CRISPR.
Yeah, so
So
I
for
think
those
that
of you who
could
don't know,
be
CRISPR is
the
this.
future.
Yeah, CRISPR is this thing that allows you to kind of snip out different parts of your alleles to combine it with, let's say you have this allele that is not very good, take it out and you replace it with a better allele from a different organism or from a different person, right? Something along the lines of that, right?
Gene editing, yeah, pretty much.
Yes, gene editing. Yes, that's really interesting. Does it work for people like right now? Like Arwin, I'm gonna make you have blonde hair right now. Does it work right now, or it's like for kids?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, even before jumping into that, I think you should realize, whether it's possible in the first place. Like, because sometimes, the way biology works, that sometimes certain traits are influenced by multiple genes, polygenic traits,
Yes.
and some are influenced by a single gene. So it's those influenced by a single gene that's typically the more feasible.
Yep.
Yeah, changing.
Okay. Cool. Okay, hey guys, thank you so much for staying all the way, and thank you, Arwin, for doing this this session. I think it's really nice to see yet another self-taught developer who is doing pretty well himself currently with with education, with consulting, with with software, with AI. He does everything, right? So I think it's always good, right? Once you understand programming, once you understand software, there's so much you can do. It's literally unlimited, from cloud to AI to computer vision to web development. So many things you can do. So yeah, cool, man. Hey, I'm going to wrap it up here. So one last call for the rest to ask any questions you have.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Hadi.
Yes, hey, Arwin. I'm Hadi.
Hadi.
I signed up for the club program. Yes, and I want to know what can we expect from the curriculum in the club program? Yes.
Right. So I think I'll give you a high-level overview, right, Derek, on the cloud program.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So pretty much the fundamentals of cloud. So it's for the most part, it's going to be AWS focused. That's one. But I think it's really also the fact that we know that some people don't know what cloud is for, why even use cloud. So those things will be addressed first. And then we would dive into, I would say, some of the basic services like for storage, compute, things like, I would say notifications, And further down the line, I think you'll be focusing on picking up DynamoDB, the serverless stuff, basically, and also serverless applications, API management and creation, and things like that. And toward the end, you'll be working on a serverless project. So that's the idea.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome, guys. Yep. So let's take a group picture if you guys don't mind, just on your webcam for a bit, and we can wrap it up for today. Jackson, Nelson. Awesome. Nelson. Oh, Nelson, you're here. Hey, man, Nelson.
I just just came back from outside.
Okay. No worries. And thank you, John and Jackson. Okay, he can't. Okay, no worries. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, awesome, guys. Got it. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good Saturday. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Arwin, as well, for the really good, insightful sharing. I'm going to post this very soon. Then I'm going to tag you as well, Arwin. You can post it on your socials.
Hey, awesome.
All right. Awesome, guys.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Derek,
Bye.
Arwin. Bye.